Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi dies in chopper crash. PM Modi condoles Ebrahim Raisi's death. Prime Minister says India stands with Iran in this time of sorrow. Polling underway for 49 seats across 6 states and 2 union territories in India's parliamentary elections. Taiwan's new president Lai Ching-te asks China to stop its intimidation after being sworn into historic third term. Man City clinch historic 4th Premier League title, defeats West Ham 3-1 in style. After serving in various positions in Iran's judicial system, Ebrahim Raisi entered politics and rose up the ranks to become the country's president. He was confirmed dead on Monday in a helicopter crash. Our next report tells you more about the late leader's time in office.
After hours of search amid dense fog in a mountainous region, rescuers in Iran were able to find the wreckage of the helicopter carrying Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hossein Amin Abdullahian, and 2 top officials. With this, the worst was confirmed. All on board were killed. Raisi, who was elected as the president in 2021, was for long seen as a potential successor to the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. Before entering politics, Raisi served as the Chief Justice of Iran. His short term in office saw various breakthroughs at the international level, including the resumption of ties between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Tehran also became a BRICS member. Just days before his death, India and Iran signed a deal to develop the Iranian port of Chabahar. With Raisi's death, Iran's Vice President Mohammad Moghber is set to become the interim president. An election is likely to be held within 50 days. Meanwhile, tributes from global leaders have been pouring in. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that he was deeply saddened and shocked. He added that Raisi's contribution to strengthening India-Iran bilateral relationship will always be remembered. UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan said that his country stood in solidarity with Iran in this difficult time. EU Chief Charles Michel also expressed his sincere condolences. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, DD India's Sarah Coates joins us for more from Tel Aviv. Sarah, really unfortunate incident that took place. Really, what latest are you getting us from there?
Yes, hello there, Sid. We do know that the bodies of these 9 people are now being brought out of this very dense forest where this helicopter crashed in the north of the country. It is understood that the helicopter that these people were travelling in was very old. It was potentially in need of repairs and new parts, but this has been obviously very difficult for the Iranians to get these parts due to these ongoing sanctions against the regime. Now, we do know that the remains of these people, they'll be taken to the city of Tabriz. It's still unclear as to where Raisi will be buried, but certainly prayers and mourning happening right now in Iran. I'll give you a picture of what's happening here in Israel. Still no official reaction from any Israelis, and it's very likely that there will be no reaction, but what we can expect is that the Israelis to be watching this extremely closely in terms of this transition period. Now, what we do need to remember is that it was on the 14th of last month that there was an unprecedented face-to-face direct contact between Iran and Israel, direct confrontation with these more than 300 drones and missiles sent over from the Iranian Republic into Israel or at Israeli territory. So certainly no love lost between these 2 countries. All
right. I'll come back to you, Sarah, but thank you so much for your analysis as of now. Meanwhile, residents in Tehran expressed their shock over Raisi's death. They called the incident tragic.
When this happened yesterday and now this morning, when the news was confirmed, we really felt as if we lost an important support and weight.
It was really unfortunate news, not only for me but for many people in this country. After all, he is the elected president of the nation. The deceased was very active. They tried to follow up on things every day, and this saddened us more.
Well, and DD India correspondent Jessica Taneja also joins us from New Delhi on this. Jessica, just now a correspondent from Tel Aviv told us that the helicopter which got crashed was an old helicopter. Now, what implications will his demise have both in terms of domestic policies and internal affairs?
Well, domestic policy, not much changes, because at the end of the day, the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, is the one who takes the calls. But since his frail, health at this point and his situation not looking so well in terms of his health and conditions, he was considered as the second in commander or someone who could take the top job after Ayatollah Khomeini. But let's also not forget Ayatollah Khomeini's son, Murtaza Khomeini, was also part of that entire process, who was looked at as the successor in case anything happens to Ayatollah Khomeini. But talking about Ebrahim Raisi and the kind of implications it would have, especially on internal affairs. Now, if you look at the situation, Siddharth, both the foreign minister and the president of the country are not with them anymore. Of course, there is a mood of sorrow in the country, given the kind of differing reports we're getting at this point. But now, soon what happens, who now becomes the president? Remember, the elections were held in Iran in 2021 and not with such a popular vote for Ebrahim Raisi in 2021. The voter turnout was a mere 41%, lowest ever since the 1980s when the elections were held in Iran. More so, within 50 days, a new president will have to be elected. Till then, the vice president will continue. And the kind of policies or the regional influence that was enhancing under Ebrahim Raisi's rule, of course, takes a backseat, including the foreign minister now. What happens to those proxy groups operating in the Middle East, both with the Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in the Red Sea, and of course, the Hamas in Gaza? So what happens to that? Of course, something that now the close group of clerics will decide.
Jessica, what legacy did he leave behind, especially when we talk about the foreign policy during his term?
Yes, rightfully so. He practiced something called a resistance diplomacy, given the kind of nature of treatment from the United States after the 2015 nuclear deal was called off under Donald Trump's presidency, and more sanctions were imposed on Ebrahim Raisi in particular, and so far have continued under the Biden administration as well. Given the tough sanctions and Iran's inability to revive its economy, facing a lot of pressures, domestically as well. You saw the protests in 2019 with the rise of oil prices in the city. 2022 with the movement where the morality police allegedly had killed Mahsa Amini, one of the protesters, for not wearing hijab. So all those kept aside, he always looked for partners and revival of foreign or a formal relationship with both Russia and China. And it's significant to point out, particularly with China, because it was Ebrahim Raisi who signed a 25-year contract with China, wherein the Chinese would invest $400 billion. And in return, the Chinese would, of course, gain the access to discounted oil from Iran, since now Iran faces sanctions from the United States, and its inability to sell oil within outside the OPEC bloc as well has been very difficult. So of course the Chinese have always been out there to help, and also Russian President Raisi made quite a lot of frequent visits, and also let's not forget Iran provided drones to Russia during the conflict with Ukraine. So his legacy of foreign relations remains strong, but one that followed a resistance diplomacy and not something that was in tune with what the Americans wanted.
All right, thank you for your analysis, Jessica. We'll keep taking updates from you on this, because this is a developing story. Thank you so much. Well, India and Iran established diplomatic ties in 1950. Under President Ebrahim Raisi, relations between the two nations saw a boost due to various deals and interactions. India and Iran signed a 10-year pact to develop Iranian port of Chabahar. Iran officially became a member of the BRICS Forum. Pushing for greater use of national currency, India and Iran held discussions on using rupee and rial in bilateral trade. All right, joining me on the broadcast is Prabhu Dayal. He is a former senior diplomat. Sir, I welcome you to the broadcast. Now to begin with, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi died in helicopter crash and reactions are pouring in from around the globe. In fact, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi condoled his demise. He said his contribution to strengthening India-Iran bilateral relationship will always be remembered. How do you assess India-Iran relations over the time?
Well, Siddharth, first of all, thanks for having me on your show.
Pleasure.
For this discussion, which is very, very important. India's relations with Iran have been strengthening gradually. I may recall that Prime Minister Modi visited Iran in 2016. And during his visit, a very important pact was signed. And that pact was for the development of the Chabahar port. Now, why is the Chabahar port important? It is important in the context of India's growing global outreach. Now, India wants access, an easy access to Central Asia, Afghanistan, and beyond, to Russia.
Indeed.
This has been impeded by Pakistan, because Pakistan is not allowing India access to Afghanistan through its own territory. So therefore, the port of Chabahar, which has been developed by India and Iran, India is in fact running the Shahid Bahishti terminal, it was set up, and it was on an annual basis. Now, a week ago, matters were escalated because India and Iran signed a bilateral agreement allowing India to operate the Bahishti terminal at Chabahar port for 10 years. And this agreement would be automatically renewed. Now, why does this become important? You see, China is developing the Belt and Road Initiative. It has the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and that gives it great outreach. And both China and Pakistan are obstructing India's global outreach. So the Chabahar port is going to allow India to reach out to Afghanistan, and through Afghanistan, Central Asia, and beyond to Russia, and even to the Baltic coast of Russia. So therefore, this is very, very important in this strategic sense. Now, whether this will invite sanctions, you know, earlier the United States had given a waiver of sanctions for the Chabahar project. This was in 2018. Of course, at that time, US forces were in Afghanistan, and this waiver was given in the context of the infrastructure development in Afghanistan. Since then, things have changed.
Sir, I would like to ask you how India managed to win a carve-out from US sanctions. If you could just tell us something about that.
No, at that time, the waiver was given in the context of the Chabahar port because even the Americans agreed that this port could, facilitate access to Afghanistan and thus promote the infrastructure development in that country.
Especially in Central Asia.
And onwards to Central Asia, yes. But you see, the problem is that ever since the Americans withdrew from Afghanistan in 2021, there is a possibility that they could change their position. But India has enough diplomatic expertise, and I think we must have been in discussions with the Americans and will be to explain to them how this project is very, very important in the context of the regional situation, where it is vital that India is able to access countries like Afghanistan and those in Central Asia, because otherwise there is going to be regional hegemony on the part of China. China is expanding in this region at a very rapid pace, and even the Americans realize that China needs to be checked.
Okay.
So I think in that context, there may be some uniformity of views. And while the Americans have hinted at a possibility of sanctions, but nothing very concrete has happened. And I think our diplomacy will engage with the United States and make sure that these sanctions are not imposed against the Chabahar port, which is being developed by India.
Definitely. I mean, this agreement is very critical for India's connectivity plans, especially, like I said, in Afghanistan and Central Asia as well. Sir, I would like to ask you that now, what is the way forward as far as the relations between both the countries are concerned, especially when I take energy sector into consideration?
Well, the relations are important for both countries. And I think that the importance which the Iranians have been attaching towards developing closer ties with India will even outlive President Raisi. He is no longer there. He has had an unfortunate death in a chopper crash. But Iran's policy towards India will continue to seek closer cooperation. And similarly, we have a vital stake in closer cooperation. Therefore, we will continue to build on this. And, as such as we have been emphasizing that we have civilizational ties with Iran, and that we have an interest in maintaining positive ties with Iran, particularly in the areas of energy, trade, transshipment, and regional cooperation. So I don't think India will abandon its relationship with Iran or allow foreign powers to dictate terms on this subject.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you joined us on this broadcast. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In an exclusive conversation to DD, Prime Minister talks about ongoing Lok Sabha elections and says India alliance has been thoroughly defeated by the people of India in these 4 phases of elections. Stay tuned for the exclusive interview. With a wide network of reporters, we show you ground report as 6 states and 2 union territories are going to polls in phase 5 of General Election 2024 in India.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddhant Bharadwaj. Let's first get you with the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Voting for the 5th phase of India's general elections is underway in 49 constituencies across 6 states and 2 union territories. 695 candidates are in the fray for 14 seats in Uttar Pradesh, 13 in Maharashtra, 7 in West Bengal, 5 each in Bihar and Odisha, 3 in Jharkhand and 1 each in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Voting began at 7 a.m. and will continue till 6 p.m. local time. The next 2 phases will be held on May 25 and June 1st, and the counting of votes will be conducted on June 4th. The voter turnout for the Phase 5 general election at 1 p.m. local time stands. State of Maharashtra had 27.78% turnout and Uttar Pradesh 39.55%, whereas West Bengal witnessed 48.14% turnout. In the Union Territory of Ladakh, 52.02% was recorded and 34.62% turnout in the state of Bihar. Mumbai is headed to polls in the 5th phase of elections. Prominent personalities reached the polling station to cast their vote. Actor Anil Kapoor and Anupam Kher were among the celebrities spotted at the voting centers of the city. Musician Vishal Dadlani also took part in the Festival of Democracy. Earlier in the day, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde cast his vote at polling booth in Thane. Bollywood actors Govinda, Dharmendra, lawmaker Hema Malini, along with her daughter Isha Deol and singer Kailash Kher were among the early voters. The 5th phase witnesses key contests in various constituencies. In Uttar Pradesh, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is contesting from Rai Bareli against BJP leader Dinesh Pratap Singh. From the Amethi constituency, BJP leader Smriti Irani is facing Kishori Lal Sharma of Congress. In the last general election, Smriti Irani defeated Rahul Gandhi by a huge margin. BJP's Minister Rajnath Singh is seeking a third term from Lucknow Lok Sabha seat. All right, let's get you the ground report from our reporters. I've been joined by Dibyendu Mondal, who is joining me from Bongaon, West Bengal, and Tapas Bhattacharya joining me from Lucknow also. I have Shishish Thala, DD India correspondent, joining us from Mumbai. Now, first to you, Dibyendu. Tell us the latest voter turnout and how's the atmosphere where you are right now?
Well, Siddharth, good afternoon. It's been a rainy day, a hot, humid and a rainy day here in Bongaon and in many parts of West Bengal, which is polling today. Of course, the voter turnout has been impressive here with about 48% of voter turnout recorded in West Bengal till about 1 p.m. So, of course, people are excited as, Siddharth, in West Bengal. It has always been that case that the voter turnout has been maximum recorded in the country. So is the case this time around as well, where you see about 48% voter turnout till 1 p.m. It is likely to go to about 80% till the time the voting closes at about 6 in the evening. Also, Siddharth, if you just look behind me, the long queues even in the afternoon, it's about 2:20. The long queues perhaps gives a testament of the fact that how enthusiastic the people are to cast their vote in this polling season. It's a festival of democracy for the people of West Bengal. They do take part in elections every time since 2014, if I may say so. Their voting percentage has been over 80%, and it is likely to be around that even this time around. So, of course, we have been witnessing long queues in almost every polling station that we have been since morning, and this also gives a glimpse of the fact about the excitement, the political awareness, the responsibility that the people of West Bengal are coming out in large numbers to cast their vote. But having said this, Siddharth, there have been some stray incidents of violence being reported from some parts of the constituencies, of the 7 constituencies that are going to polls. Where I am currently in Bangaon, there have been stray incidents of violence where a polling agent of the BJP, it is being alleged by the BJP that a polling agent of the BJP was not allowed to sit inside the polling booth by the Trinamool Congress, but after the intervention by the Election Commission, they were allowed, and one also were beaten up allegedly by the TMC goons outside a polling station. There have been disturbances in Barakpur as well as in the Hooghly constituency, where we have seen visuals of Lockett Chatterjee, the BJP candidate, chasing fake voters or false voters from nearby polling stations. So these are some of the incidents that are being reported from West Bengal. But overall, largely, it's a free and fair and peaceful elections being recorded from West Bengal. Back to you, Siddharth.
Well, stay with us, Dibendu. I have Tapas Bhattacharya, who's joining me from Uttar Pradesh's capital, Lucknow. Tapas, it must be very hot out there. How enthusiastically people are coming to exercise their franchise. Tell us something about that.
Not just hot, it's humid at the same time, and the Met Department has already predicted that it's going to stay like that for the next phases also. So, but anyway, what we have seen from morning 7 o'clock, that the people have been coming out in large number. They're quite excited, especially the first-time voters and the elderly. We saw in the morning people like of the age group of 60 to 70 age group. They came out in large number, and now we are seeing the young first-time voters. I have one first-time voter with me. What's your name?
Ananya Pandey.
Ananya, you came here first time you're voting. How excited you were?
It was pretty good, yeah. It was my first time. I was quite excited.
But it's quite hot out here.
Very, very hot, yes.
It is quite hot. And just to put it into perspective, the overall percentage in Uttar Pradesh at around 1 p.m. by the Election Commission's information we received, it's approximately 39.55%, or approximately 40, you can say. Okay. But in Lucknow, the percentage has dipped quite a bit. In fact, if we take a close look at Lucknow, we realize that it is under 33. It's in fact 33.50. So what the state's average is approximately 40, but Lucknow hasn't done that well. It's still 33.50. But Barabanki, for that matter, Barabanki has done really well. The polling percentage in Barabanki till 1 o'clock is over 44%. Indeed. And interestingly, you know what I need to tell you this, that there's 14 parliamentary constituencies are going to the poll. Definitely. And it is quite imperative that everybody come out and vote in large.
Definitely, I know. You have a lot of information to share, yes. But stay with us. We also have Shishir Sela joining us from Mumbai. Shishir, first tell us exactly where you are, which polling booth, and about the voting percentage till 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. What's the latest, and how excited are people to cast their ballot?
Well, absolutely. We'll start with the numbers first, because in Maharashtra so far, the numbers we've got till 1 o'clock is that Maharashtra witnessed almost 27% of voting so far. But obviously Mumbai is actually one of the important center here, because Mumbai is also, we have seen the polling percentages between almost to 20 to 21% we have seen here. Obviously, what we have seen due to the past record, the Mumbai hasn't witnessed such a good polling percentage. But this time around, since morning, we have seen a long queue, especially outside the polling stations here. Even though it's scorching heat and humid in Mumbai, but since morning, especially in the first half, we have seen the maximum number of voter turnout, the long queue outside the polling stations here. And that's the reason some kind of pictures probably we may see even now also. But obviously, the crowd has reduced a little bit because obviously it's a noon time here. But once probably, in the evening, probably after 4 o'clock, we may see a pickup again in the voter turnout here. Numbers may increase. So that is an important factor. The second important aspect is that important players are in fray in Mumbai. We talk about the Union Minister Piyush Goyal is contesting from the North Mumbai. The Union Minister of State Kapil Patil also contesting from Bhiwandi constituency. We also have Bharti Pawar who's contesting from Dindori constituency. So obviously big name are in fray in this particular election, because Maharashtra is going for the last phase of its election, the 5th phase, and this is the last phase in Maharashtra, and 13 seats are going for the poll here, and these 13 seats plays quite an important role here, especially the Mumbai, where we have almost a 6 constituency seat here, the 6 parliamentary seats here. And that's the reason now there is a battle direct between the Uddhav Thackeray Sena versus the Shinde Shiv Sena and the BJP here. That's what we have seen across Mumbai. Well, right now I'm in South Mumbai, and as I told you that in the morning we have seen that Union Minister Piyush Goyal cast his vote, and later probably we'll see some of the important names from the Indian business world will also be coming here to cast their vote.
All right, Shishir Selar, Tapas Bhattacharya and also Dibyendu Model, all three of you, thank you so much for joining in. We'll keep taking updates from you. And still to come on DD India News Hour. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan meets Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. More details ahead. We tell you how maritime cooperation between India and the Philippines is shaping up.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of the headlines. Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi dies in chopper crash. PM Modi condoles Ebrahim Raisi's death. Prime Minister says India stands with Iran in this time of sorrow. Polling underway for 49 seats across 6 states and 2 union territories in India's parliamentary elections. Taiwan's new president Lai Ching-te asks China to stop its intimidation after being sworn into historic third term. Ladakh is polling today in its first national election after becoming a union territory. Being surrounded by the Great Himalayan and the Karakoram mountain ranges, polling was slow in the morning due to cold conditions. But as the sun shone brighter, it has picked up pace. There is strong enthusiasm amongst first-time voters since this is the first parliamentary election in Ladakh after it gained union territory status.
Being a first-time voter and I did my duty, like casting our vote is our primary and fundamental duty. So I feel as a very responsible youth of India, and as being a part of this democratic, and as being Indian, it's the largest democracy and is also known as the mother of the democracy. So casting my vote, I feel as a very responsible citizen of this country.
Ladakh's election office is taking steps on even polling day to motivate young, old and differently abled voters by giving a surprise gift to those who are turning up at polling stations to exercise their democratic right. Take a look at a report by Gautam Roy from Leh.
Voters, young or old or any other category, is a consistent exercise that the Election Commission of India carries out. But even on voting day, we're seeing it take place in Leh, Ladakh. Let's find out more about it. The Chief Electoral Officer of Ladakh with us. Good afternoon to you, sir. You've been carrying out this exercise of motivating voters for quite some time now. And even on election day, we're seeing you do this. What has been the thought process behind this?
Yeah, we have done a lot of exercise actually to motivate the people and to cast their constitutional right here. And to encourage the young voters, we have kept some surprise gift for them, and we have given some gift prize to old people also, those who are 85 plus and those who are PWD people. So it is quite good initiative that we have taken this so that we encourage the people here and cast their valuable vote.
Thank you for speaking to us. So that's the way voting is being encouraged here in Ladakh among all sections of society in both the districts of Leh and Kargil. And through the day, we're seeing it picking up as well. As you can see, these lines right behind me, there is a separate one for the ladies and one for the gents as well at this pink polling station here in Leh, Ladakh. With camera person Naveen Kumar Jha, this is Gautam Roy in Leh, Ladakh for DD India.
And we've been joined by DD India correspondent Gautam Roy from Leh. Gautam, we just saw your report. People are certainly enjoying the surprise gifts. How's the enthusiasm amongst the voters? Since this is the first parliamentary election in Ladakh after it gained UT status.
Well, it seems that that's what the data is suggesting, Siddharth, that Ladakh till 1 p.m. has been top of the charts, where polling all over the country in the seats that are going to poll in the fifth phase, but I think about 47 of them is concerned, because the data for 1 p.m. was 52.02%. But if you look at what's happening now, I'm at this pink polling booth again. This is in Housing Colony A of Leh, where it's just a trickle of voters who are coming in because the sun is pretty strong right now. Leh is otherwise quite cold, but since the air is clean, the sun is very, very harsh. Its UV levels are also very high, so in the afternoon you don't see people stepping out much, and which is what is happening now. There were two rooms where there were separate queues for men and women, and the room which had the queue for the men to go in, which is labelled male, has been padlocked, and all the men and women who are coming in ones or twos are now going in to this room which was meant only for women to be queuing up. So that's the situation here. But we've seen some heated scenes taking place as well at a neighboring polling booth, which is Housing Colony B, where some graffiti, anti-BJP graffiti, had been painted on the walls of the community hall where the polling station was situated. And the BJP raised a ruckus over it, quite rightly, it seems, it's been repainted now, but they're seeking a repoll in this polling station as well as the one across the road. And the matter has been raised with the election office here as well, and the RO, because I spoke to the CEO of Ladakh as well, and he said he's told the RO to investigate the matter.
All right, thank you so much, Gautam, for joining in. In an exclusive interview with DD News, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke on a variety of topics. After Jagannath Darshan at Puri, a city in eastern part of India, PM Modi said that the constitution has been the guiding light for him to run the government. Prime Minister said he's been celebrating the Indian constitution for a long time.
मैं डॉक्टर बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर का, मैं संविधान सभा का, उस समय सभी महापुरुषों का सर झुकाकर के प्रणाम करता हूं कि उन्होंने देश को ऐसा संविधान दिया कि एक चाय वाले का बेटा, एक गरीब माँ का बेटा, और मेरे देश के लोकतंत्र की ताकत देखिए कि उसने उसे प्रधानमंत्री बना दिया। मेरे लिए तो संविधान शासन चलाने का सबसे बड़ा धर्म ग्रंथ है। मेरे लिए एक राजनेता के रूप में, एक पॉलिटिकल लीडर के रूप में, एक जनप्रतिनिधि के रूप में संविधान मेरा मार्गदर्शक है और मैं उसका पुजारी हूं। और ये पूजा मैं आज से नहीं कर रहा हूं। जब संविधान के 60 साल हुए थे तो मैं पहला व्यक्ति था देश में जिसने हाथी पर संविधान रखा और संविधान की यात्रा निकाली, और मोदी सीएम था, पैदल चल रहा था।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about the ongoing Lok Sabha elections. He said that India's women power will propel the growth in the next 25 years, and the creation of 3 crore Lakpati Didis is a testimony to the same.
भारत की नारी शक्ति आने 25 साल में भारत की गति के लिए 2 मैं बड़े निर्णायक फैक्टर देखता हूं। एक, हिंदुस्तान का पूर्वी हिस्सा यानी उड़ीसा, हमारा झारखंड, हमारा बिहार, हमारा बंगाल, ये हिंदुस्तान का पूर्वी इलाका है, या पूर्वी उत्तर प्रदेश, ये एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर बनेगा जो ग्रोथ इंजन बनेगा। दूसरा, मेरे देश की नारी शक्ति, 50% नारी शक्ति, उनका जिस प्रकार से सामर्थ्य निकल करके आ रहा है। जब मैं कहता हूं मैं 3 करोड़ लखपति दीदी बनाऊंगा, तो मुझे लगता है कि मुझे कुछ नहीं करना पड़ेगा, सिर्फ अवसर देने हैं, और मेरे गांव की बहनें लखपति दीदी बन के रहेगी, ये मेरा विश्वास है।
Slamming the opposition leaders, PM Modi said that few leaders see Prime Minister's post with power and prestige, but it is post of responsibility.
ज्यादातर राजनेता सत्ता, पद, प्रतिष्ठा उसी के इर्द गिर्द खोए रहते हैं। मैं उससे कोसों दूर हूं। मैं मानता हूं कि पद एक कार्यभार है, पद ये प्रतिष्ठा के लिए नहीं होता है, जीवन खपाना होता है और ये चीजें लास्ट मोमेंट नहीं करनी होती है, बहुत पहले से तैयारी करनी चाहिए। इतना बड़ा देश है, उसकी आवश्यकताओं को समझना चाहिए, उसके आधार पर नीतियां बनानी चाहिए, रणनीति बनानी चाहिए, निर्णय करने चाहिए और तब जाकर के फैसले होते हैं, परिणाम मिलते हैं। और जब नीयत साफ होती है ना, तो नतीजे भी शानदार मिलते हैं।
Taking bilateral relations a step further and strengthening maritime cooperation, 3 Indian Navy ships are in Philippines. A visit is part of an operational deployment of the Indian Navy's Eastern Fleet to South China Sea. Indian Navy ships INS Delhi, INS Shakti and INS Kiltan arrived in Manila on Sunday, and they were accorded a warm welcome by the Philippines Navy. During the visit, personnel from both the navies will engage in wide range of professional interactions, including subject matter expert exchange, sports fixtures, cross-deck visits, cultural visits and collaborative community outreach programs. The ships will also participate in a maritime partnership exercise with the Philippines Navy. William Lai Ching-te has been sworn in as Taiwan's president on Monday, marking the start of a historic third consecutive term for the island's ruling Democratic Progressive Party. While giving his inaugural speech, Lai said that peace is the only choice and that Beijing had to respect choice of the Taiwanese people. Lai has also reiterated a call for talks with China. Taiwan President Lai Ching-te asked China to stop its military and political threats.
I hope that China will face the reality of the Republic of China's existence, respect of the choices of the people of Taiwan, and in good faith choose dialogue over confrontation, exchange over containment, and under the principles of parity and dignity, engage in cooperation with the legal government chosen by Taiwan's people. This can start from the resumption of tourism on a reciprocal basis and enrollment of degree students in Taiwanese institutions. Let us together pursue peace and mutual prosperity.
Well, DD India's Laura Westbrook reports from Hong Kong. Have a look.
Newly sworn-in President William Lai Ching-te gave his inaugural speech at the presidential palace in Taipei, where he said he was determined to strengthen Taiwan, but acknowledged that challenges remain. At frequent moments during his speech, there was thunderous applause, including when he said that democratic Taiwan was a global beacon. He also said that peace was the only option. He pledged that his government would retain the status quo in the Taiwan Strait. And he also called on China to stop its military and political threats on Taiwan. He called on Beijing to cooperate with his government, saying it should pursue dialogue rather than confrontation. At home, he is also facing challenges, including a divided parliament, and he acknowledged that no party had a majority in parliament and all should work together to govern as one. In attendance were officials including former US officials, as well as lawmakers from Germany, Japan, and Canada. Now, Beijing will be watching this speech closely. It has called William Lai a dangerous separatist, and it has also been ramping up its political as well as military pressure on Taiwan, especially in recent months. Now, one analyst told me that William Lai's call for peaceful coexistence across the Taiwan Strait would sadly fall on deaf ears in Beijing. Laura Westbrook in Hong Kong, reporting for DD India.
6 drones crashed onto the territory of the Russia's Slavyansk oil refinery located in the Krasnodar region on Monday. Russia struck a busy lakeside resort on the edge of Ukraine's Kharkiv, killing at least 11 people and wounding scores. The missile strikes were the latest Russian attacks in recent weeks on the Kharkiv region of the northeastern Ukraine. Russia has reported a rise in Ukrainian attacks on its territory since its forces opened a new front in northeastern Ukraine's Kharkiv region earlier this month. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan called on Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem on Sunday. The two discussed the continuation of fighting in Gaza, with focus on operations in Rafah, increasing humanitarian assistance in the Gaza Strip, and the return of Israeli hostages. A U.S. statement released after their meeting said that the United States reaffirmed the need for Israel to connect its military operations to a political strategy that can ensure the lasting defeat of Hamas, the release of all the hostages, and a better future for Gaza. London's High Court would give a final decision on Monday on whether WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange should be extradited to the United States or if he can have an appeal in Britain. Assange has spent the last 5 years at maximum security Belmarsh prison, charged over the mass leak of secret US documents. In March, the High Court provisionally gave Assange permission to appeal. Those submissions were subsequently delivered in April and will be the focus of Monday's hearings. Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A wildlife was reported in Tonto National Forest, northeast of Scottsdale, Arizona on Saturday. Devouring about 5,000 acres, the fire is still expanding. Around 200 firefighters are still struggling to contain the blaze, with no casualties reported so far. The cause of the fire is still unknown. According to the European Space Agency, a bright object illuminated the night skies of Spain and Portugal, treating the residents to dazzling visuals with tons of blue and green. The object, which was identified to be the part of a comet, later burnt up over the Atlantic. Tornadoes and dust storms swept through the streets of Kansas, following by heavy rains and winds. The severe storms caused power outages, with nearly 45,000 cases reported. More storms are predicted for the area till Tuesday.
No! Oh my gosh! Holy shit!
Sweats dripping down as people struggle to deal with the increasing heat. India's meteorological department forecasts further rise in temperature in coming days. Heat to severe heat wave situation is predicted for next few days over northwest, east and central India. Severe to very severe heat waves were recorded on Sunday over north and central India, with temperatures soaring to 46.9 degrees Celsius in Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, which is notably above normal by 2 to 4 degrees. Although South Peninsula and Southeast India may get some respite, with heavy to very heavy rain spells expected as southwest monsoon advances into South Andaman Sea. People are advised to avoid longer exposure to sun or avoid going out at all, keeping their heads covered and stay hydrated as much as possible. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Historic 4th Premier League title for Manchester City. We'll give you more details. Stay with us. IPL playoff fixtures decided. Kolkata face Hyderabad in qualifier 1 and Rajasthan go up against Bangalore in eliminator.
Versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters, with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. In a remarkable turnaround in the last 10 years, India's banking sector net profit crossed around $36 billion for the first time ever. In a post on social media, PM Modi said, the improvement in the health of banks will help improve credit availability to poor, farmers and MSMEs. While public sector banks generated a record around $16.8 billion in net profit during the year, an increase of 34% over the year-ago period. During the same period, the private sector banks increased their net by 42% to nearly $20 billion. This net is approximately the total quarterly profits of all listed companies in the first 3 quarters in this fiscal year. All right, time now for sport updates. And Manchester City won an unprecedented 4th straight English top flight title with a 3-1 win over West Ham United on Sunday. Phil Foden scored 2 early goals at an expectant Etihad Stadium to put his side on the brink of the title, before Mohamed Kudus pulled one back with a spectacular overhead kick. But Rodri struck just before the hour to restore City's 2-goal cushion, and the home side really looked troubled as they coasted to the win. City, which has now won 6 titles in 7 years, stands alone as the only English team to have won 4 straight top-flight titles. An update on Indian Premier League's last group stage fixture now. The IPL 2024 league phase has finally come to an end, with the playoffs scheduled to begin on Tuesday. Kolkata Knight Riders faces Sunrisers Hyderabad in Qualifier 1, followed by Rajasthan Royals taking on Royal Challengers Bengaluru in the Eliminator. The winning of Qualifier 1 will get direct berth to the final. Meanwhile, the winner of the Eliminator will face the loser of Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2 for a place in the final. Rajasthan and Kolkata were the final league games of this season, but the match got washed out and Rajasthan fell from the 2nd to the 3rd position, while Kolkata ended the league phase in pole position with 20 points from 14 matches. Indian skipper and Mumbai Indians batter Rohit Sharma has lashed out at broadcasters Star Sports for airing his conversations for views and engagement despite him requesting them not to. A recent clip of the Indian cricket team captain Rohit Sharma having a chat at the Eden Gardens with his Mumbai mate Abhishek Nair was first aired by a franchise's social media handle. But after releasing that, Rohit Sharma was possibly speaking about personal stuff that he wouldn't want to be known in the world. The franchise then hastily deleted the clip. But by then the damage was done. Many social media handles had picked up the audio and had aired the clip themselves. Taking to X, Rohit fumed at Star Sports, saying, "The lives of cricketers have become so intrusive that cameras are now recording every step and conversation we are having in privacy with our friends and colleagues at training or on match days. Despite asking Star Sports to not record my conversation, it was and was also then played on air, which is a breach of privacy. The need to get exclusive content and focused only on views and engagement will one day break the trust between the fans, cricketers and cricket." Alexander Zverev warmed up for the French Open by winning his 6th Masters title. Zverev beat first-time finalist Nicolas Jarry 6-4, 7-5 in the Italian Open final on Sunday. It was the 2nd title in Rome for the German 3rd seed, having won the first in 2017 when he was a 20-year-old kid with his first trophy since he broke his ankle in the French Open semi-finals in 2022. Residents and tourists gather in thousands to enjoy the 26th edition of Carnival of Cultures. Celebrated for 3 days annually since 1996, the event exhibits the various cultures of Berlin, with colorful parades and vibrant performances acting as platforms for various communities to represent their cultural roots and heritage. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.